Good evening, everyone, and I'm Trisha, and I'm doing my third year BA English at SRMIST Ramapuram. So, generally, I would like to say that this literary community, Wisdom Arcadia, this stands for a safe space for literary lovers. So that's exactly why we conduct this book review forum every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. So today it's the 17th week, and I know initially it's like it was a very small idea, but now I'm very proud that we have come so far. So yes, I would like to welcome everyone wholeheartedly for attending this meet. So, yeah, and also I would like to say the reviewers today, am really, really excited to look forward to your review. And also to the chief guest, Annapurni ma'am, thank you for gracing our event. So, yeah, and also Dr. Olivanan sir for always supporting us. Thank you so much. And I'm welcoming you, sir, to the event as well. And to all the listeners and participants who are here in the meet, I welcome you all. So now I would like to invite Hari Priya to take over the event.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome you all once again. So get ready to dive into the world of words. Now, I would like to welcome our first reviewer of the week, Avantika from Stella Maris College. Yeah, congratulations, Avantika, on being our first reviewer for today. So we are delighted to have you share your insights on the book Pecks of Being a Wallflower. So yeah, once again, welcome you. Please proceed with your review. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Avantika. I'm doing my first MCom at Stella Maris College. So today I'll be reviewing the book called The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. So this is a story that follows the life of a teenage boy named Charlie. And the story is told from Charlie's perspective through a series of letters that he writes to an anonymous friend. So, in the beginning of the novel, in Charlie's first letter, you find he tells us about two painful events from his life. So, first is the death of his best friend Michael, who had committed suicide, and second is the death of his favorite aunt Helen, who had died from a car crash. So, in this same letter, Charlie also tells us about him starting high school and that he's absolutely terrified about it. So essentially, the whole story revolves around how Charlie navigates his way through his first year of childhood, of his high school, sorry. So, what I love most about the perks of being a wallflower is that it's very relatable, especially being an introvert myself. Um, so, as I was reading about Charlie's life, I was reminded of my own experiences growing up, adjusting to school, trying to find friends who like me, and trying to fit in and discovering who I was. I also really liked the relationship that Charlie had with the siblings. They fought and they always picked on each other, which is a normal thing for siblings. But when things got tough, they were always there for each other. I also really like Charlie's friends in the story. They were fun characters to get to know, and my two favorite ones were Sam and Patrick. And Charlie really cared about Sam and Patrick. So, Sam and Patrick were Charlie's best friends in the novel, and they really stood out for him whenever Charlie needed him. Despite Charlie being shy and an introverted person, they helped him navigate his way through high school. I loved how supportive they were to him. And another thing that I really liked about the perks of being the wallflower is how subtle the story's progression was, and how it managed to surprise me. In Charlie's first few letters, you get the sense that he is just an ordinary boy who's facing high school struggles. But as I moved further into the story, I started to get the sense that something was off. There was something more deeper and much more troubling going on with Charlie. So that mystery kept me hooked with the book, and I found myself eager to know what Charlie was dealing with, and why he was saying things, and why he was behaving the way he did. And finally, one more thing that I want to mention before I wrap up this review is that despite all the dark and painful events that happened in this story, I loved how it ended with a very positive note. Even though life can be tragic and heartbreaking, there is still hope. So there is still light at the end of the tunnel, and I loved how beautiful this book portrayed that message. Thank you. Yeah, I'm done with my review.
Yeah, thank you, Avantika, for your insightful review. Now the floor is open for questions and comments. If you have any questions and comments, you can feel free to ask Avantika. Yeah. Yes, Trisha.
Hi, Avantika. First of all, though it was very brief review, it was very well done. So, yeah, my question is that the thing is, I've seen the movie, and it was the character was played by Logan Lerman and even Emma Watson, and the movie was very impactful. The thing is, I saw it, I think, 5 to 7 years back. So when I saw it, I love the way it deal with the trauma, the very subtly they showcased it. But since have you seen the movie though?
I just watched the trailer. I didn't watch the whole movie actually.
Okay, okay, okay. I was gonna ask you whether you think, from what you saw, do you think the movie did justice to the book?
Yeah, actually it did. I just
It
watched
did,
the
right?
end, the tunnel scene. So that was
The
very
epilogue.
beautiful. That scene where he tells that they're infinite, no? That scene was very
Yes.
beautiful.
All
That's the
right.
part which impacted me the most.
Yes. It's like everything gets elevated in that scene, and even
Yeah,
in the book, the epilogue, right?
yeah,
Even I was discussing with my like fellow members how the epilogue, it is one of the most like impactful literary devices to be used. So I'm a huge fan of those, epilogues in novels. So it's like we get a glimpse of what happens after the happily ever after, like what
yes.
does it entail. So yeah, thank you so much, Avantika.
Thank you.
Hi Avantika, this is Jay Krish. First of all, I'd like to say that this book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, is actually one of my favorite, if not my favorite book. This book was actually my gateway to reading, as in a reading habit. I picked it out sometime around my class 11. So it was relatable on so many levels to me. And my question to you is, what were the themes? It could be multiple themes, by the way. What were the themes that you could relate to the most from the book? And uh, in general, just how well the character Charlie is written, in your opinion.
To me, I'm someone who is an introvert, and INFP. So Charlie is also an INFP. So the main reason why I chose to read this book is because of the title, the perks of being a wallflower. I am also a wallflower, so I really wanted to know how a person like this would be written as. That's the reason why I chose this book, and it was really relatable for me to see how he was dealing with his life, his struggles in high school, and how he found friends. That was really beautiful for me because for me also in school, I wasn't someone who would talk to everyone easily. I was very shy. I was an introvert. I couldn't even get along with my classmates. They always considered me to be like kind of a very quiet person. But when I read this book, it really kind of brought me to tears, reminiscing how it was for Charlie. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think Tejasvi, you can. Yeah, Tejasvi have a question. Tejasvi, can you hear me? Yeah, Tejasvi, you can now ask questions.
I wanted to ask you that how the wallflower has reflected his characters in school or anywhere, between his family members, with his friends.
Avantika? Avantika, are you here? Can you hear me, Avantika? Yeah, Tejasvi, I think Avantika have some network issues, so we move forward, okay? So, yeah, our next reviewer, we have like Harni from Stella Maris College. So, she will be reviewing on the book The Curse of the Bird and Other Paranormal Stories. Yeah, Harni, you can start.
Thank you, Trisha. Hello, everyone. This is Jayhan from Stella Maris College. So, today I'm going to review a book named The Curse of the Bird and Other Paranormal Stories. So, basically, thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. So, to begin with, most of the time, do you believe in like horror stories or like reading a book, horror stories, horror themed books? So then this would be a perfect match. So this book presents 18 authors and 30 haunting stories that promise to send chills down to your spines. Uh, you'll have a reminder in your mind. You will think twice before touching a birthmark, asking for a potions, even burying a husband and wife together. They book warn us. So I'll share a story. So this book contains about 30 stories. So today I'm going to share a story on that book. Uh, the author of Mind Tree, uh, Ajit Malavia. So in this story, uh, a boy studies so hard to get a good marks, or I'll just brief it down shortly. So a boy has ambitions in life to become a aeronautical engineer. So from childhood, he was forced to study very hard. So he uh, like he puts more effort on studying. So after his childhood, when he comes to college, uh, his attention story sorry it, his attention on studies were so low, and he was inactive in studying. So he decided to get and score good marks to get graduation from his college. So basically that is thing. So he sees a tree. So that time, only a few people comes under the tree and study. So one day, he can't focus in library. Uh, when he is preparing for a test, when he sits in the library, he can't focus in studies. So when one day he saw this tree, and he start deciding to sit under the tree, and it became a habit for each and everything. Like, he goes under this tree, and time goes on and on. He scores good marks too, by the way, because he spends more time on under the tree. He focuses more. He believed that his attention is more in studies while studying under the tree. But he never know that he became addict to that tree. So each time he would come under the tree. So uh, one day, old man notices this from a library, like a library outside. There would be a old man. So he saw this boy every day sitting under the tree. One day he wants this boy uh, go somewhere and study. Why are you always studying under a tree where you don't know anything? Like, you don't know this tree is dangerous. Like, this boy just ignored. Like, he is getting old, so he's just telling like this. But the reality is, he became an addict to that tree. So every time, whenever he goes by that place, uh, he becomes addict to the tree. So the story ends by like saying his soul was being connected to that tree, like mostly dependent on that tree. So this is one of the story by Ajit Malavia. Yeah. So there are so many stories uh, which are quite good actually. Uh, so I shared one of the stories, which is the first one. So hope you all like it. Hello.
Yeah, Jai Hanmi. Yeah, thank you, Jai Hanmi, for our insightful review. It's now time for discussion. If what's your thoughts on Jai Hanmi's review? If you have any questions or comments, you can ask her now or share her. Yeah.
Hi, Jeremy. I had fun listening to the first story. Actually, when read a short story collection or an anthology, it's only possible to understand the themes and basically what makes the anthology tick only if you know at least a couple of stories. So, could you just share with us one other story which was your favorite in this same style? Because we really loved your narration style, by the way. So, yeah, any one other favorite story of yours in this connection?
So okay, Jay Krish, thank you. Yeah, one of the favorite means, I think I can I can share another story. So this is by Malati Ramachandran. So in this, actually each story was described by different authors. So it would be more interesting when you read this book, because the each author would write according to their style. So I think this book would be the perfect match if you're going to search for a horror or paranormal stories. So what I read, one of my favorite story is Malati Ramachandran's. So where she goes to her native place in a village. So there she finds her grandma, like I can't remember exactly, but I'll share. So her grandma, she sees her grandma who is fully in, grandfather died. So she's fully in white sari. But when, like, um, when this the author is the main character of the story too. So uh, she when she tries to open a drawer or a cabinet, the grandmother, she doesn't allow it. By the time she doesn't know, but when like actually the story tells about revisiting to that uh, native place in what is it? native native place. So like each they'll describe about the ambience and that pillars of the traditional house. So at these things happen at night. So when the grandma started to give a story why she doesn't allow the girls to not open the cabinet. So once upon a time, the grandfather's father used to follow a ritual. Like he believed in a ritual where he doesn't, where he has to do 8 days of puja something for getting to see Yama, Lord of Death. So there is something like Adiyavaram, we'll say in Tamil, right? As- So they believe in that. So அந்த மாதிரி like they believed, and the grandfather's father first tried it and he got that result. Like he used to see that Yama Yama for a peaceful death. Like they think that after seeing that they get a peaceful death. But what happens if the ritual is not completed properly? That is the story. So when grandfather tried this, he saw his grandfather's father, that he didn't see the full ritual. So when he comes to that age, he tries this ritual. So by that time, he completed all kind of ritual. On the 8th day, the man used to go to graveyard and see a bull. I think bull. Yeah. He should see a bull. So it would be like violent, like that. So he completed all the 7 days of ritual, everything. But on the 8th day, he didn't complete and he was just scared and he ran away. So from that time, a bull started chasing him every corner of like wherever he goes at night, 12 a.m. He has to complete the ritual by 12 a.m. But he didn't complete it because he was afraid. So like that bull followed him everywhere and he was terrified to death. So after even getting married also, this bull didn't go away. So one day night, like when he became older, uh, like he was, we'll say thinnai, right? Like outside house. He used to sleep there. One day he slept there and he saw a bull in front of his eyes. Suddenly his like grandmother, uh, I mean grandmother, she rushed to save him, and first time she saved, but not the second time. Because once the next day, the grandma was also not in the house. So by the time in afternoon itself, that bull came and killed that, like, uh, killed that person. So each from that time, like, uh, the grandma warns everyone not to go to that open that drawer or that cabinet, because it has the ritual methods. So yeah, this is one of the story. I'm not sure I was clear, but yeah, hope you liked it. Jai Krish.
Yeah, I would say it was not as effective as the first one, but yeah, it was really good at storytelling. Do explore this avenue also, since storytelling is a really important as well as integral part of literature. You know, it's not just literature is not just restricted to books and novels and writing. Uh, there are several avenues. Now, cinema is, it has always been that, but you know, you can look at it as an art form. Similarly, storytelling is also an art. And I suggest you could, since you already have knack for this, I suggest try exploring that avenue, and maybe even next time you could try exclusively sharing stories and the exploring the art of storytelling. That's right. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you, Jai Krish. Yeah, I'll make sure to follow that now.
Yeah, yes, Sridevi, you can ask. Yeah, Harni, Sridevi have a question, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sridevi, can you hear me? Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, Sridevi, you can ask her.
Hi. So may I know why it is called the curse of the bird? And can you say something about the author? I think I'm audible,
For which
yes?
story? Like, for which story, da?
No, I'm asking just the curse of the entire thing is the curse of the bird and the other paranormal stories, right? So
Yeah.
can you mention why it was named particularly the curse of the bird? And can you say
Yeah,
little more
actually,
things about the author?
okay. So the editor was Annie and Mary Matthews. So this book is a collection of horror stories where you can find 30 stories in this book. So uh, yeah, I think
Okay, so before we moving forward, Avantika want to answer the question Tejasvi asked. So Tejasvi, you can ask the question once again to Avantika now, please. Yeah, Tejasvi, you are here, right? Tejasvi, Avantika want to answer your question. You can ask a question now.
So hi,
Hi, Tejasvi. Can you please repeat your question? I had a network problem.
I was asking I wanted to ask that how the perks of a wallflower has reflected the protagonist for personality or character based on the wallflower?
Okay. I think being a wallflower, he often struggled to join in with people because he was often having a fear of opening up with to others, and because he was and because of his shyness. So with his friends, it was like that. But with Sam and Patrick, on the other hand, they made him feel accepted. So he was more open to them. Um, if you want to talk in case of his family, then um he often felt misunderstood and isolated from them because they did not understand the trauma that he was facing. So yeah, I think I've answered your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tejasvi, and thank you, Avantika. Now I call upon Jai Krish to deliver the special address.
All right. Apologies there for the hiccup. I am not delivering the special address, but I'm rather inviting our guest today, who's going to deliver the special address. Yes, today's guest is Dr. S. Annapurni. So, as usual, to every each one of our guests, we ask them to introduce themselves with a short bio. We ask them a little informal bio. So, what ma'am had said was she was actually doing her cardio as we were speaking, and she was reading this book called The Lords of the Deccan. I guess that just shows you how much of a bibliophile she is. But then she also goes on to say that her love for books translates more to buying them and not reading them. That was a really funny, humorous, and a relatable part. Yeah, and this is also a person who spent her childhoods reading books. Even during those family get-togethers, and she would get scolded by her relatives. But then she has good reason for that, and she's a staunch believer of the fact that uh, books are much better than people. I guess that is from Anne Frank, I believe. Anne Frank said paper is more patient than people. Yeah. All right. So all this introduction is for our chief guest, the one and only Dr. Annapurni. Welcome, ma'am. And I hope you had a good time so far. A few of your words, and also a few words on that book you were reading yesterday.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Yeah. Hi.
Audible?
Yep, it's perfectly audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you for the invitation. And yeah, it was good. See, book reading as such is something that most of us are kind of setting it on the back burner because we are more engaged with our phones than anything else. So to have a book meeting, a book club that you do, even if it is online, it's very heartwarming. There are so many literature teachers, English teachers. If you speak to them, they would tell you the first thing is that they are very disappointed that kids don't read at all these days. So I remember having this conversation even last week among my colleagues in the department, saying there are so many things that the kids can do in their time. Why do they spend so much time looking at their phones, right? So uh, that's the best part, that Wisdom Arcadia is doing something really relevant, and that is very heartwarming. So that was the first thing that I wanted to tell you. And second is to do with the idea of reading in the times of social media, and how it tends to take our time away. Like I said, I also spend a lot of time on the phone. Um, And yes, we do get caught up in those notifications that come in from Instagram or maybe WhatsApp. Maybe it's work related, but something or the other kind of takes us away from the reading. So that again is something that I, as a reader, also kind of grapple with. So the best thing to do, I think personally, would be to shift to a device that doesn't have any other apps like a Kindle, right? So Kindle doesn't allow you that distraction. You only have the book with you. And as I was telling you earlier, my eyes can't take the small font of a book anymore. I need to wear my specs. So I prefer a Kindle. One, because it doesn't have any other notifications. You're only engaged with the book. The other, the fact that it has a backlight and it can increase the font size and all that. So that adds a lot. So I think one of the best things to do would be to shift to this device or allot a time specifically for reading. Like you have the meeting today. I think both the girls have prepared a lot before the meeting, not only just reading the book, but reading around the book. So all of that, right? It matters, to spend some more time looking at books that talk about books. I think all of that is very, very important when it comes to keeping that spirit of reading alive. Won't you agree? Yes, no.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very relevant of these days, man. Especially, it the requirement. I mean, reading is technically the need of the hour now and today with all of these, like you said, social media and so many distractions. We just
True.
need something to sit down and stay calm and focus on.
Exactly. Exactly. Anything that kind of takes us away from the reality that we're so focused on. I'm not saying your books need to be only about fantasy, because what books do is to give you an alternative world that you can get into, but that is closely related to the reality that we are from. We kind of, the books are in a way a bridge that way, they kind of take us away from this reality, but they do have a concrete reality that they fictionalize for you. So that kind of aspect that book gives you, that very empowering space that they have. The fact that you can go into, say, for example, the fantastic world of Harry Potter, but at the same time you also find very realistic elements in that book, right? You have evil, you have friendship, you have empathy, you have goodness, you have all those human elements there. You have characters who are selfish, you have characters who are capable of greatness. So all of those realities are there within a book that supposedly is about a magical world far removed from ours, right? So books kind of do that for you. They take you away from this reality, but they magically ground you to this reality also, right? That is again something very, very fascinating about books. I'm sure most of you would agree with this.
Yeah, ma'am,
Yes,
definitely.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, finally about the both the girls who presented today. I'm sorry, I also had network issues, so I couldn't hear the question answer sessions. I heard their presentations, but again, question answers again were difficult for me to hear. I kind of caught on only to the last part of the presentation, the storytelling bit. So uh, congrats on making the effort. I know how difficult it is to find time to read and to, just not stop with reading, but to have a talk on the book, to have a community of people to talk to you about the book, or you get to talk to them about the book that you read. I think that community is very, very important, right? It could be a small book club. It could be just your friend. Maybe you can text them and tell them, this is what I was reading and this is what was engaging about that book. This is something that I connected to. And there would be a soul that responds to you saying, hey, let me also read that book at some point. It's not like they would immediately get the book or download it or whatever, but just the idea that you have somebody that you can talk to about something that interests you. That I think is great about book clubs and what you are doing today. So congrats on that again.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. And about the book that I'm currently reading, I'm reading two, as I told Jay yesterday. One is called the Lords of the Deccan, which is my preference is for books that have a grounding in history. So anything that I pick up, it could be romance, it could be fantasy fiction, but somewhere some historical element has to be there for me. So this particular book is a non-fiction one. It's by Anirudh Kanisetti, who is doing he is giving you a version of Indian history, an aspect of Indian history that not many people kind of, or rather, not many people, I won't say, it's more of mainstream history books won't spend so much time on those elements. For instance, I don't know how many of you have read your history texts in school that spent a lot of time on the southern empires, right? You have mentions of the Chalukyas, the Cholas, the Pandyas, and that's it, right? You would have maybe one unit or chapter or half a chapter on these southern kingdoms. The focus more would be on the northern ones. You would know your Guptas more than your Mughals and the Sultanates and all of that, and the British, of course, in Indian history. So those aspects would be focused more on by mainstream history textbooks, be they school ones or popular ones. But
Yeah, ma'am.
yeah. So what Anirudh Kanisetti does is to give special focus to the southern empires alone, especially the Chalukyas and the Rashtrakutas, and very engagingly written. He has done a lot of research. You can see the kind of footnote that he gives, the references that he gives to other texts, and they're not old ones. They're not just old ones. He also looks at the latest papers that have been done, the newer research that has come up, both archaeological and otherwise, about these kingdoms and what role they played in Indian history. He's talking about these kingdoms that came in before the 10th century. So much before the Sultanate is what we are talking about. And we see their rise, their fall, and it's not just about kings and wars. It is also about diplomacy. It is also about building a city, especially the architecture differences that they brought in their temple architecture. How we have the religious influence playing into the architectural creation. So you have cave temples of Badami, and then you have the Kailashanatha freestanding temples, and how they matter a lot to the development of the politics of these kingdoms also. So they kind of, the interconnections of religion, politics, personal propaganda, and what it does to our understanding of Indian history. What role these southern kingdoms played vis-a-vis the supposedly major players of Indian history. So it's beautiful the way he connects all of these things. There's a lot of research, lovely research that has gone into it. So I wish you would also take some time to read. I think around 70% of the book is done, but I'm finding it fascinating even now. He gives you kind of a different perspective on who you think you know in your history. You would have heard of Pulikesi, you would have heard of your Arulmozhi Varman or Rajaraja Cholan and all of that, but he gives you a very beautiful picture of how they came into being, what made them great, and what relevance they have to today's India. They're not just historical figures that you read about, mark on a map, and then forget. That's not the point of the book. He's also making them relevant to today's history, kind of connecting it to where we are as a nation now. So that is the interesting thing about the Lords of the Deccan. Yeah, so that's my take on this. So do you have anything to say?
Hi, ma'am. This is Trisha.
Yeah, hi.
First of all, I would like to say I have been obsessed with history. In social science,
Yeah.
when when I was in school, I was very much
Yes,
looking forward to
yes.
the history portions.
Classes, I know.
And eventually, I was also reading a lots of books. So I took English literature. But at the same
Yes,
time, I agree with you when you said like you have this fascination with historical novels, right?
yes.
Even I too have it, ma'am. And especially, I read this book, and it's about a duchess,
Okay.
Catherine Whitefoord. It's like though it is of European history, I
Yes.
realized how much, just like you said, na, in social science, how it only uncovers the northern dynasties in depth.
Yeah,
Very,
mainstream texts tend to do that. They look at historical figures that are important, historical
yeah,
figures that
yeah,
have, a lot of research done on them. So it's like a repetition. What these writers do, it's not revisioning of history per se, but
yes, yes,
kind of, showing you that yes, there are gaps in our understanding of how history is written, right?
yeah, yeah, ma'am. Like there are unfilled, uncovered aspects or timelines.
Yes.
Like there are so many things that are skipped over, and even how to say, just not paid much attention to. And thank you so much for recommending the book, ma'am. Lots of
Yes.
the Deccan.
Yes.
Immediately after you said, I immediately googled it, and it is
I know.
definitely going to be a
Yeah,
must read for me.
yeah, actually, if you're interested in history, I think it's one of those texts that kind of make you think of, okay, what else can I read after reading him? Because he does give you some curveballs, some googlies he gives you. So you're like, okay, is this his take on it or is it real, fact? So let me check on that
uh,
also. What else can you read? So it's like, it kind of takes you on a journey of reading more.
yes,
So
ma'am. Also gives us a glimpse of our legacy, the legacy of the Southern
anything
dynasties.
where we come from, yes, exactly. That also is equally important.
I think now it's time that people get aware of it, and how to say, there is this I think it's because of colonialism. At one point after colonialism, we forgot our history, and we have become so westernized that majority of the people, they have forgot their roots. And
Yeah, where
they,
we come from, we need to know. Like you
yeah,
have a Ponniyin Selvan, a movie that comes up, and then suddenly people are reading Kalki. And where
yes,
does
yes,
Kalki take the source from? It is from history.
uh,
So what
exactly.
what what Kalki did was to revision the history to present to you the Cholas as the epitome of chivalry and greatness. So are they the same people that you would see in history? Certainly, to an extent, yes, but they are also rulers. They have also people who undertake wars. They undertake expansion of their empire. So they're going to
Yeah,
take some
yeah.
very hard decisions. So you look at them as people also. That's
Like
the
they're not
interesting.
completely good or bad, but rather there's a gray area between the good and bad.
Very true. Very
So
true. They're people. Literally, they're
morally
people.
gray
Yeah.
characters,
Yeah.
like people
Yeah.
who are not perfectly good people, and depending on their circumstances, they have to
Yeah.
take
Because see,
decisions that,
again, the idea that history has always been written by the people who survived the war.
yeah, yeah,
That
man.
again is very important, right? The fact that you get to see only one perspective. So who gives you
Yes.
the other?
So it's like we can't rely completely on that perspective.
Yeah, only on one person's output. You need to look at all aspects of history. So when somebody tells you, these southern empires came in and they fought among themselves and they killed themselves and that was it. No, it was not. These are people who existed for more than 4 centuries, more
Yeah,
than
yeah,
400 years. They have a history. So we really need to really need to ask ourselves, is I'm not saying we need to ask ourselves whether one particular moment in history is important or over the other, but why do we get to ignore a few and focus on only a few? That is the question.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
why the disparity?
Yes, exactly. these are texts that help you to think beyond that. Yeah.
Wow. Now I'm like, I'll definitely read the book, ma'am. Thank you so much for, recommending this.
Yes.
There was a time even I was like, at a certain point wondered, like why, like, recently I taught my cousin brother, a social science lesson. And at that time, I wondered, like, why is there only like literally just a one page, it was just one page. It was a
Yeah,
lesson.
exactly. See, for us, I think when we were doing our 11th and 12th, and I was doing my history in 12th, we used to dedicate like 3 chapters to the sultanates and 6 chapters, one
Ah,
each to every Mughal ruler. And then there was a paragraph on Rashtrakutas, there was a paragraph on Chalukyas, and then go back and look at a book like Anirudh Kanisetti's, and you're thinking there's so much that they've done beyond just conquering places. They're if yeah, I'm actually planning next to go on a trip to these sites, the Badami
ah,
and
even
Aihole
I
and
was
all of it.
telling to
Yeah,
my mom the
yeah,
Kirari excavation I
you
wanted.
literally see history on rocks there,
Yeah,
kind of leaving their footprints on these rocks. So you can celebrate Taj Mahal all you want. I admire what they did, but let us also look at these living monuments, that
yes.
the southern kingdoms have also left over, and surprisingly, these are most of them are temples that are
The
still
architectural
being,
marvel.
yeah, that they are still being used as temples. So
Ah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so they're not only a testimony to the past, but they're also part of this tradition that we have, that we continue to use. So yeah,
Yeah, ma'am.
so fascinating thing.
I'm just really, really happy to,
Sure, sure.
express myself as well, and to, know about this book.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
great, great.
Okay, now I would like to propose the vote of thanks.
Sure.
So, hello everyone, and yes, so far, hope you all enjoyed the, reviews done by our reviewers, and also, to all of you listeners, thank you so much for, your patience and listening to our reviews. And also special thanks to, Dr. Annapurni ma'am, and for your recommendations and your take on books and reading, and how it should be a vital, ability or a vital habit of every human being. There was a saying, I remember when you were talking about it, I remembered a saying, reading maketh a complete man. So these days, as you said, the distractions like social media and um, all the other apps and games and everything, these things are preventing people from developing the habit. So I'd say reading, uh, it makes you complete, and if you don't read, it makes you incomplete. It's the fact that some people don't even realize that it's making them incomplete is what it's very concerning. But through these review forums and everything, though we target the literary lovers, through this, if people got to know the importance of reading and how vital it is and how it makes them complete, if they get the awareness, that's also very, we'll be very happy. So yes, thank you so much. Thanks to all, and my special thanks to also Dr. Olivan and sir for always, supporting us. So thank you, sir, and yeah, thank you all.